Admiral Jake Morrison sat in his chair on Luna Station and stared at the screen. The message had arrived 3 hours ago. His hands were steady, but his mind was racing. 30 years of military service had not prepared him for this moment. The alien stood 12 feet tall with 6 arms and eyes like broken glass. Its voice came through the translator as cold metal scraping stone. Ambassador Crix Velthan of the Zephyrian Collective had delivered the message that would change everything. Humans will surrender all worlds beyond your home system. You have 30 of your days. Refuse and we will burn every human world to ash. This is not a request. This is fact. Captain Lisa Rodriguez walked into the room. She had been Morrison's tactical advisor for 8 years. Her face was pale, but her voice was calm. Sir, we have responses from the colonies. New Texas says no. Iron Ridge says no. All 47 human worlds are saying the same thing. Morrison nodded. He had expected this. Humans did not give up their homes easily. They had spent 200 years spreading across the stars. Each world was paid for with blood and sweat. What do we know about their fleet? Morrison asked. Rodriguez pulled up the data on her tablet. Intelligence says they have bioships, living vessels the size of moons, energy weapons that can crack planets open, ground forces that have never lost a battle. They have conquered over 800 species across 12,000 star systems. The numbers were crushing. The entire human fleet had maybe 200 ships. Most were cargo haulers with guns bolted on. The Zephyrians had 50 bioships, just in their advance force. There is more, sir, Rodriguez said. Dr. Amanda Foster from Military Research wants to see you. She says she has something important. Morrison stood up. Foster was brilliant, but strange. She studied alien biology and human psychology. Most people avoided her because she asked uncomfortable questions about how humans fought wars. Foster arrived 10 minutes later. She was a small woman with sharp eyes and calloused hands from years in laboratories. She carried a thick folder, marked with red security tags. Admiral, I need to show you something, Foster said. She opened the folder and spread photos across the table. These are from every species the Zephyrians have conquered. Look at the pattern. Morrison studied the images. Peaceful farming worlds, advanced technological civilizations, warrior cultures with proud military traditions, all had fallen within weeks of first contact. They all surrendered, Foster said. Every single species gave up when they saw the Zephyrian fleet. Some fought for a few days. Most just sent surrender messages. Because they were smart, Rodriguez said. They knew they could not win. Foster shook her head. No, because they thought like civilized beings. They weighed costs and benefits. They chose survival over pride. They acted rationally. Morrison frowned. And humans are different? Humans are insane, Foster said. Her voice was matter of fact. We are the only species that evolved from persistence hunters. We are pack animals that never stop. When other animals run away, we follow them until they die from exhaustion. When other species surrender, we keep fighting until we win, or we die. She pulled out another set of photos. Human wars throughout history. Bloody battles where humans fought against impossible odds. Last stands where soldiers died rather than retreat. The Zephyrians have never faced an enemy that refused to quit, Foster said. They have never fought a species that gets more dangerous when it is cornered. They think we will be like all the others. They are wrong. Morrison looked at the photos. Again. He thought about the farmers on New Texas who were already digging trenches, the miners on Iron Ridge who were building bombs, the research stations that were turning their labs into weapons factories. What are you suggesting, Doctor? Morrison asked. Foster's smile was cold. I am suggesting we give them exactly what they asked for. They want war. Let us show them what human war looks like. Rodriguez pulled up star charts on the main screen. Human colonies were scattered across hundreds of light years. Each world was isolated and vulnerable. The Zephyrian fleet could attack them one by one. We cannot protect all of them, Rodriguez said. Our fleet is too small. Our weapons are too weak. Then we do not protect them, Morrison said. We make. The Zephyrians pay for every world they take. We make them bleed for every victory. We show them that conquering humans is different from conquering anyone else. Foster nodded. I have been working on some projects. Weapons and tactics that other species would never use. Things that might shock the Zephyrians. What kind of things? Morrison asked. The kind that make enemies afraid to fight us again. Foster said. The kind that win wars by making the enemy wish they had never started them. Morrison thought about the message from Crix Velton. The alien had spoken like victory was already certain, like humans were just another species to be absorbed into their empire. Send a response to Ambassador Velton, Morrison said. Tell him that humanity does not kneel. If he wants our worlds, he can come and take them. Rodriguez looked worried. Sir, they could destroy Earth itself. Morrison stood up and walked to the window. Below him, Luna City sprawled across the moons. Surface. Millions of humans lived and worked there. Children played in the parks. Families shared meals in their homes. It was worth protecting. They could try, Morrison said. But first they have to get past every human between here and there. And we are going to make that the longest, bloodiest journey of their lives. Foster gathered her papers. I will start implementing the special projects. How long do we have? 30. Days until they expect our surrender, Morrison said. But their advanced scouts will probably arrive sooner. They always do. Then we better get ready, Rodriguez said. This is going to be the fight of our lives. Morrison nodded. He thought about all the human worlds scattered across the galaxy. Ordinary people living ordinary lives who were about to become soldiers. Farmers and miners and scientists who were about to face the most powerful military force in known space. Send word to all colonies, Morrison said. Tell them to prepare for war. Tell them that help is coming. And tell them that no matter what happens, we do not surrender. We do not retreat. We fight until we win. The message went out that day to every human world. Within hours, the responses came back. Not one colony asked for evacuation. Not one. World requested to surrender. 47 human settlements sent the same message back to Luna Station. We are ready. Come and take it. The war had begun. Armada would come next, and it would be 10 times larger than the advance force. But now humanity knew their enemy could. The news of the advance force's defeat reached the Zephyrian homeworlds within hours. For the first time in 1,000 years, a collective military force had been destroyed by an inferior species. Panic spread through the Empire like wildfire. High Prime Corax Vethran called an emergency session of the War Council. The ancient leader had overseen the conquest of 200 star systems. He had never known military defeat. Explain this disaster, Corax demanded. His voice echoed through the biochamber where the War Council met. How did primitive humans destroy 18 of our bioships? War Prime Korthak stood before the council, his 4 arms trembling with shame. High Prime, the humans fight unlike any species in our database. They use weapons that violate all conventions of civilized warfare. They target our genetic modifications. Directly. That is impossible, said War Prime Yelthin of the Third Fleet. No species developed such weapons in mere days. The humans did, Korthak replied. They turned our own enhancements against us. Our warriors began reverting to base genetics during combat. They became farmers and builders again, not fighters. The council chamber fell silent. The genetic modification system was the foundation of Zephyrian military power. Without it, they were a peaceful species that had forgotten how to fight. Mobilize the Grand Armada, Corax ordered. 500 bioships, 10 million warrior castes. We will crush this human infestation completely. Meanwhile, in the Sol system, humanity prepared for the storm that was coming. Admiral Morrison stood in the war room on Luna Station. surrounded by holographic displays showing every human world. General Kelly reported the mobilization status. Production is at maximum capacity. Every shipyard is building warships. Every factory is making weapons. We have pulled every human from civilian duty and put them into military service. Dr. Foster appeared on the communication screen from her research facility. Behind her, teams of scientists worked on weapons that looked like nightmares. Admiral, Project Damnation is ready for deployment. Morrison studied the data files she transmitted. What exactly is Project Damnation? Self-replicating hunter-killer drones, Foster explained. Each drone is programmed to seek out and destroy Zephyrian bioships. When they find a target, they multiply. 1 drone becomes 10. 10 become 100. Engineer Clark joined the briefing from her orbital laboratory. The quantum bomb production is up to 50 units per day. But that is not our biggest advantage. Lieutenant Brooks has cracked their entire communication system. Brooks appeared on another screen. He looked exhausted, but excited. I have access to all Zephyrian military communications, fleet movements, tactical plans, supply routes. More importantly, I have discovered something about their society. The main display showed Zephyrian social structure data. They are not natural warriors, Brooks explained. Their entire species evolved as farmers and builders. They create warrior castes through genetic modification and chemical enhancement. Their military culture is completely artificial. Morrison studied the information. What does this mean for us? It means they have a critical weakness, Foster said. Take away their artificial enhancements, and they become helpless. But there is more. I have developed a biological weapon that does not just disable their modifications, it corrupts them. The display showed molecular diagrams that made Morrison's stomach turn. This virus targets their genetic modification systems directly. It turns their enhancements into weapons against them. Their own biology becomes the enemy. Captain Rodriguez, now commanding the rebuilt human fleet, joined the briefing. Admiral, the fleet is ready. We have 200 ships now, including the new Retribution-class dreadnoughts. Morrison looked at the fleet roster. Every ship was crewed by volunteers who knew they might not survive the coming battle. But they also knew that defeat meant the end of human civilization. What about the colonies? Morrison asked. Every world is ready, Kelly reported. But Admiral, we have a problem. The Zephyrian Grand Armada is not heading for the colonies. They are coming straight for Earth. The tactical display showed the enemy fleet's course. 500 bioships moving directly toward humanity's home system. They plan to end the war by destroying Earth itself. How long do we have? Morrison asked. 6 days, Brooks replied. They are using faster ships this time. No extended approach. Morrison felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. Earth held 8 billion humans. If the planet fell, humanity would be scattered and helpless. But he also knew that this concentration of enemy forces created an opportunity. Activate Operation Hellfire, Morrison ordered. Move the entire human fleet to defensive positions around Earth. Deploy every weapon we have. Make them pay for every mile of space they cross. Dr. Foster's expression was grim. Admiral, I need to tell you about the final phase of Project Damnation. The ultimate weapon. Morrison waited. We have weaponized the Sol system itself, Foster said. Every planet has been moved slightly out of its normal orbit. The asteroid belt has been repositioned. Even the sun's solar flare activity has been artificially enhanced. The display showed the solar system as it had been modified over the past weeks. Earth's moon now carried massive gravitational generators. Mars had been equipped with orbital bombardment platforms. The asteroid belt formed a defensive maze around the inner system. When the Zephyrian fleet arrives, they will find that our entire star system has become a weapon, Foster explained. But using it will require sacrifices. Morrison understood. How many casualties? Unknown, Foster admitted. We have never weaponized an entire star system before. Some of the effects may be permanent. Rodriguez checked her combat suit. Admiral, the fleet crews are ready. Everyone understands the stakes. What about the biological weapons? Morrison asked. Ready for deployment, Foster said. The moment their bioships enter our system, we release the corruption virus. Their own ships will become their enemies. Brooks interrupted with urgent news. Sir, we are receiving a transmission from the Zephyrian Grand Armada. High Prime Corax wants to negotiate. The ancient alien's face filled the main screen. Corax was larger than other Zephyrians, with golden skin and 6 arms instead of 4. His crystalline eyes held the wisdom of centuries. Humans of Earth, Corax said. I am High Prime Corax Vethran of the Zephyrian Collective. We offer you one final opportunity for survival. Morrison stepped forward. High Prime, I am Admiral Jake Morrison of the Earth Defense Council. What are your terms? Complete. Surrender, Corax replied. Your species will be relocated to agricultural worlds within our empire. In exchange, we will not destroy your home planet. Morrison looked around the war room. Every human there had made their choice weeks ago. No surrender, no retreat, no matter the cost. High Prime Corax, Morrison said. Humanity rejects your offer. We will not surrender our worlds. We will not submit to your empire. If you want Earth, you will have to take it by force. Corax's eyes dimmed with what might have been sadness. You choose extinction. We do not understand why any species would make this choice. Because you have never understood humans, Morrison replied. We do not choose based on odds or calculations. We choose based on what is right, and it is right to fight for our home. Very well, Corax said. In 6 days, you will see why 800 species have chosen to submit to the collective. Your destruction will serve as an example to any others who might resist. The transmission ended. The war room was silent for a moment. All stations, prepare for final operations, Morrison ordered. This is the battle that decides everything. If we win, humanity survives. If we lose, humanity dies. There is no middle ground. Foster gathered her data tablets. The biological weapons will deploy automatically when their ships enter weapons range. Clark checked her equipment. Quantum bombs are loaded and ready. Brooks organized his intelligence files. I will monitor their communications and coordinate our countermeasures. Kelly pulled up the defense grid. Earth's orbital platforms are armed and ready. Rodriguez sealed her helmet. The fleet is ready to die for Earth. Morrison walked to the observation window one last time. Earth hung below him, blue and beautiful and perfect. In 6 days, the most powerful military force in galactic history would try to destroy it. They would learn that some things could not be taken by force. They would learn that humans fought differently when their children were threatened. They would learn that there were fates worse than death. Attention, all human forces. Morrison broadcast on all frequencies. In 6 days, we face the final battle. Remember why we fight. Remember who we protect. Remember that we are human, and humans do not quit. The response came back from every ship, every station, every world. We are ready. For Earth, for humanity, for the future. The final battle was 6 days away. Earth was ready to deliver hell. The Zephyrian Grand Armada dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system like a plague of metal locusts. 500 bioships stretched across space in perfect formation, each one pulsing with malevolent life. High Prime Corax stood on the bridge of his flagship and prepared to end human civilization. Subprime, begin the assault, Corax ordered. Destroy their orbital defenses first, then crack the planet itself. Yes, High Prime, replied Subprime Neth. All bioships report ready for... The words died in his throat as hell erupted around them. Admiral Morrison watched from the bridge of the USS Retribution as Operation Hellfire went active. Every asteroid in the belt revealed hidden weapons. Every moon became a gun platform. Every planet in the solar system opened fire simultaneously. "Dr. Foster, release the biological weapons," Morrison ordered. Foster's voice came through the communication system from her laboratory deep inside Luna. "Corruption virus deployed. All bioships are now infected." The virus spread through the Zephyrian fleet like invisible death. It entered their bioships through their organic hulls and began rewriting their genetic code. Within minutes, the living vessels started turning against their own crews. Corax felt his flagship shudder beneath his feet. "Subprime! What is happening?" "The ship is attacking us," Neth screamed. "The corridors are sealing themselves. The weapons are turning inward." Across the fleet, bioships began to die. Their own nervous systems became their enemies. Passages contracted to crush crew members. Organic weapons fired into their own command centers. The ships that had conquered 800 species were committing suicide. Captain Rodriguez led the human fleet in the first assault wave. 200 ships against 500, but the odds were changing rapidly as the bioships destroyed themselves. "All ships, this is Retribution 1, Rodriguez transmitted. "Target the command vessels first. Make them pay for every mile." The human ships moved unlike anything the Zephyrians had ever faced. They used the modified solar system like a weapon, diving through asteroid fields and using planetary gravity to slingshot into attack runs. Engineer Clark's quantum bombs found their targets with deadly precision. Each explosion created voids in space where matter simply stopped existing. Bioships tried to regenerate around the wounds, but quantum damage could not be healed. Lieutenant Brooks coordinated the electronic warfare from his station on Luna. "Admiral, I have control of 30% of their communication systems. Their fleet coordination is breaking down." Morrison watched the tactical display as the battle raged across the solar system. The Zephyrian advantage in numbers was disappearing rapidly. "What is our casualty status?" 43 ships lost, Rodriguez reported. "But we have destroyed over 200 bioships. The biological weapons are working better than expected." On the surface of Earth, 8 billion humans watched the battle through emergency broadcasts. In bunkers and shelters, families held each other as the sky lit up with explosions. They knew their fate was being decided in the darkness above. High Prime Corax tried to maintain control as his fleet died around him. "All ships, retreat to safe distance. Regroup and—" His orders were cut off as his own flagship's organic systems turned against him. Passages sealed, cutting off his bridge from the rest of the ship. Weapons pods began firing into the command center. "Subprime, get us out of here!" Corax shouted. But Subprime Neth was already dead, crushed by a corridor that had suddenly contracted. Corax found himself alone on a bridge that was trying to kill him. Dr. Foster monitored the biological weapons progress from her laboratory. "Admiral, the corruption virus has exceeded all expectations. The bioships are not just dying, they are evolving." Morrison frowned. "Evolving how?" "The virus is rewriting their genetic code randomly. Some ships are growing new weapon systems. Others are developing armor we cannot penetrate. But most importantly, they are becoming aggressive toward each other." The tactical display showed the chaotic battle as bioships began attacking their own fleetmates. The Zephyrian formation collapsed into civil war as corrupted vessels turned on their neighbors. "It is working exactly as designed," Foster said, with satisfaction. "Their greatest strength has become their greatest weakness." Captain Rodriguez pressed the human advantage, leading attack runs against the largest surviving bioships. Her squadron of Retribution-class dreadnoughts moved through the chaos like sharks through bloody water. "Target the flagship," Rodriguez ordered. "Take out their command structure." 20 human ships converged on Corax's dying vessel. The bioship was already half dead from internal damage, its organic systems consuming themselves. Quantum bombs finished the job, creating holes that went straight through its core. High Prime Korax died as his flagship collapsed around him. The ancient leader who had conquered 200 star systems was crushed by his own ship's dying spasms. With their command structure gone, the surviving Zephyrian ships began to flee, but the corrupted bioships followed them, attacking anything that moved. The retreat became a rout as the fleet tore itself apart. Morrison watched the enemy formation disintegrate on his tactical display. Brooks, what is the status of their communications? Complete breakdown, Brooks reported. No organized resistance remaining. Most of their ships are attacking each other now. The Battle of Saul lasted 18 hours. When it ended, the Zephyrian Grand Armada had ceased to exist. Of 500 bioships, fewer than 30 escaped the system. Of 10 million warrior castes, less than 50,000 survived. Morrison stood on the bridge of his damaged flagship and surveyed the aftermath. Space around Earth was filled with debris from both fleets. The price of victory had been high. Casualties? Morrison asked quietly. 89. Ships lost, Rodriguez reported. 37,000 human casualties. But Earth is safe. Morrison nodded. The numbers were grim, but they could have been much worse. Earth still existed. Humanity had survived. Admiral, Brooks interrupted. We are receiving transmissions from across the galaxy. The news of the Zephyrian defeat is spreading. The main display showed star charts as reports came in from distant systems. The Zephyrian Empire was collapsing. Species that had been enslaved for centuries were rising in rebellion. Worlds that had submitted without a fight were declaring independence. Dr. Foster appeared on the communication screen. Admiral, we are receiving a priority transmission from the Zephyrian home worlds. The alien who appeared on screen was different from the others. Smaller, with only 4 arms and eyes that held fear instead of arrogance. This was not a warrior caste, but a member of the base species. Humans of Earth, the alien said. I am caretaker Vex Nethran of the Zephyrian Council. We wish to discuss terms. Morrison studied the frightened alien. What terms? Peace, Vex said simply. We surrender. The collective is dissolved. We ask only that you do not hunt down our survivors. Morrison felt a moment of grim satisfaction. The species that had demanded humanity's surrender was now begging for mercy. Caretaker Vex, Morrison said. Humanity accepts your surrender. But understand this, we will be watching. If your species ever threatens another world, if you ever try to rebuild your military empire, we will finish what you started here. We understand, Vex replied. We will return to our agricultural worlds. We will harm no one. Please, just let us live. The transmission ended. Morrison looked around his bridge at the tired faces of his crew. They had done the impossible. They had defeated the most powerful empire in galactic history, but the victory felt hollow. 37,000 humans had died. Entire families had been wiped out. The cost of freedom had been measured in blood. Admiral, Rodriguez said quietly, what happens now? Morrison thought about the question. Across the galaxy, dozens of species were asking for human protection. Some wanted humanity to become the new galactic power. Others feared that humans might be worse than the Zephyrians. Now, we go home, Morrison said. We rebuild what was damaged. We remember what we lost, and we make sure this never happens again. General Kelly appeared on the communication screen from Earth. Admiral, we are receiving requests for alliance from 47 different species. They want human protection from future threats. Morrison shook his head. Send the same message to all of them. Humanity fought for one thing, the right to be left alone. We do not want to rule the galaxy. We just want to live in peace. And if they do not accept that answer? Kelly asked. Morrison looked out at the debris field that had once been the Zephyrian Grand Armada. Then they will learn the same lesson the Zephyrians learned. Some things cannot be taken by force. Dr. Foster's final report came through an hour later. Admiral, the hunter-killer drones are continuing to patrol Zephyrian space. Any attempt to rebuild their military will be detected and destroyed automatically. And the biological weapons? Morrison asked. Contained and neutralized? Foster said. The corruption virus has run its course, but the data has been stored. If we ever face another threat like this, we will be ready. Morrison nodded. Humanity had won the war, but the price of victory would be remembered for generations. Children would grow up hearing stories of the day the aliens came to destroy Earth. They would learn what their parents had sacrificed to keep them free. The USS Retribution limped back toward Earth, its hull scarred by battle. The big glass room on the space station buzzed with voices from many different alien races. Each one thought they were smarter and better than all the others. In the middle of the huge round room, Supreme Chancellor Vex Cthulhu clicked his bug-like mouth parts as he looked at the floating picture in front of everyone. The Chancellor was tall and scary-looking. His body looked like a giant insect with 4 arms and big black eyes that could see in all directions. His voice came out through a machine that changed his bug sounds into words that other aliens could understand. "Look at this planet," he said, pointing at the blue and green ball floating in the light. "The third rock from their sun. They call it Earth. 8 billion creatures live there. They walk on 2 legs like some of us do." All the aliens in the room leaned forward to get a better look. The snake-like Zephyrians moved their yellow eyes to see better. Their skin looked like green and brown scales, and they had long tongues that came out to taste the air. Next to them sat the see-through Lumicites, who looked like they were made of clear jelly that glowed with soft light. Their machines are so old and simple that it makes me laugh, the Chancellor continued. He moved his hands and the picture changed to show human cities and armies. They still use fire to push their rockets. They have bombs that split atoms, but they are weak. Their talk machines can barely reach past their own moon. Low sounds of laughter filled the room. The aliens thought humans were funny and weak. Zeph Commander Sarlacc, one of the snake people, stuck out his long tongue and spoke up. "These humans fight each other all the time. They have split their world into almost 200 different groups. Each group has its own leaders and armies. They are not working together like the other worlds we have taken over." "That is exactly right," Vex Cthulhu said with his eyes shining bright. "Our smart people who study wars say we can beat them in 3 days. Their world has lots of good stuff we need. Clean water everywhere, many different kinds of land, and lots of creatures to work for us. The Council needs a place to build bases in this part of space, and Earth looks perfect." The vote happened fast. Every alien leader raised their hand, or tentacle or wing, to say yes. Earth would fall just like hundreds of other worlds had fallen before. The Galactic Council had been taking over planets for thousands of years. They were very good at it. This small blue world would be no harder than any other simple planet with dumb creatures on it. None of them had taken time to learn about human history. None of them knew what it meant when a group of creatures had spent thousands of years learning how to fight wars against their own kind. Far away on Earth, Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the control room of the UNS Liberty. He was looking out. The big window at the morning sun coming up over the Pacific Ocean. Jake was 45 years old and had spent most of his life getting ready for wars that never happened. But something about the strange signals his people had been seeing in space for the past week made him feel worried. Jake was a tall man with gray hair and serious eyes. He had been in the Earth Navy for 25 years. Other people said he was one of the best war leaders on the planet. He hoped he would never have to prove it. "Admiral," called Lieutenant Kate Miller from her seat at the talking machines. Kate was young with short brown hair and quick green eyes. She was very good at her job. "We are getting that same weird signal from the watching posts at the edge of our solar system. Whatever is out there is big and it is coming closer to us." Jake nodded but did not smile. The United Nations Space Defense Force had been started 3 years ago because some people were worried about meeting aliens. Most of the world leaders thought it was a waste of money. Jake had hoped they were right, but now he was not so sure. How long until we can see what it is? He asked. Looking at how fast it is moving and how strong the signals are, I think about 18 hours, sir. Jake turned to look at all the people working on his ship. Everyone get ready for meeting aliens, for the first time, and call Colonel Wright at Peterson Base. If we are about to meet our neighbors from space, I want to be ready for anything that might happen. Jake thought it was funny and sad that the first time humans met aliens might also be the last time. He had read enough history books to know that when a strong group met a weak group, the weak group usually did not survive. At Peterson Air Force Base in Colorado, Colonel Lisa Wright got the call from Admiral Morrison. Lisa was a tough woman with black hair and brown eyes who had been a soldier for 15 years. She ran the United Earth Defense Command from deep inside a mountain where it would be safe from bombs. "Jake," she said into the phone, "how bad do you think this is going to be? I hope I am wrong, but I think we are about to find out if all our planning was worth anything," Jake replied. Lisa looked around at all the people working at computers and talking on radios. For 3 years they had been getting ready for this day. They had built new weapons, trained soldiers, and made plans for defending Earth. Everyone had hoped it would never be needed. "I will get everyone ready," Lisa said. "If someone wants to start a fight with Earth, they are going to learn that humans do not give up easy." After she hung up the phone, Lisa walked to the big screen that showed a map of the whole world. Red. Dots showed where human armies and weapons were waiting. She pushed a button and spoke into a microphone. "This is Colonel Wright to all defense stations. Unknown ships are coming toward Earth. All units go to high alert. This is not a drill. Get ready to show any visitors that Earth is not an easy target." Around the world, soldiers and sailors and pilots got the message. Nuclear submarines under the oceans got ready to fight. Space stations near the moon started moving to safe places. Radar stations turned on their most powerful sensors to watch the sky. None of the humans knew what was coming, but they were as ready as they could be. And unlike the aliens who thought they were weak and stupid, humans had one big advantage. They had been fighting each other for so long that they were very, very good at war. 2 weeks after the invasion that was supposed to be easy, the Galactic Council faced something that had never happened before in their long history. The simple humans of Earth had not only fought off their attack, but had somehow learned how to use Council technology and were now attacking back. Supreme Chancellor Vex Cthulhu stared at the big screen showing human ships moving toward Council positions all through the outer solar system. These were ships that should not exist. The humans had been using chemical rockets just weeks ago, and now they had faster-than-light travel. "How is this possible?" he demanded of his advisors. His voice was high and scared. "They were primitive creatures who could barely reach their own moon." "Our people who study alien biology think we made a big mistake about human nature," said Prowl-In, the Lumicite advisor. His clear body was flickering fast, which meant he was very nervous. "They have something called adaptive intelligence. Humans seem to get smarter and more creative when they are in danger. They are also completely crazy," added the Zephyrian military officer. "They use battle tactics that would be considered crimes by Council standards. They blow up their own ships to destroy ours. They fight until they die, even when giving up. Would make more sense. And they have turned their whole planet into a giant weapons factory." Commander Paul Davis stood on the bridge of the UNS Vengeance. The ship used to be called the Scaled Lightning when it belonged to the Zephyrians. But now it was human. Around him, human officers ran alien technology like they had been using it their whole lives. Paul was 40 years old with gray hair and serious brown eyes. He had been in the Navy for 20 years and had commanded ships in battles around the world. But he had never commanded an alien spaceship before. Still, he was learning fast, just like all humans seem to be doing. "Give me a report on our status," he said to his tactical officer. "All ships report ready, sir. The new fusion torpedoes are armed and we have locked onto our targets." "What about our alien guests in the prison cells?" "The alien prisoners are secure, sir. But I should tell you that several of them have asked to speak with you about surrender terms." Paul smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. "Tell them we will talk about surrender after we finish destroying their fleet." The attack on Titan was fast and brutal. Human forces, now equipped with energy shields, faster-than-light communication, and weapons that made nuclear bombs look like firecrackers, smashed through the Council defenses in less than 6 hours. The alien base that had taken months to build was turned into scrap metal and regret. Dr. Amy Stone watched the battle from her new laboratory on the UNS Discovery. The Discovery was a huge space station that had been built from captured alien technology in just 10 days. Human engineering teams had taken the alien building methods and made them work better than the aliens ever had. Amy had been working without sleep for 2 weeks, but she did not feel tired. Every day brought new discoveries, new ways to improve on alien technology that had not changed in thousands of years. "Paul," she called to Dr. Davis over the communication system, "I have good news and bad news. Give me the good news first. We have cracked their hyperspace navigation systems. Not only can we travel faster than light, we can do it more efficiently than they can. Their technology is thousands of years old. It works well, but they stopped trying to make it better. And the bad news? I have been reading their databases. The Galactic Council controls over 10,000 star systems. If they decide to send a real fleet instead of this scouting force, we could be facing millions of ships." Paul was quiet for a moment. "Amy, how long would it take you to turn our improvements into weapons? What did you have in mind?" "If they want to threaten humanity, I think it is time we visited them at home. Admiral Morrison got the message from Earth Command while his fleet was cleaning up the last Council resistance in the asteroid belt. The message was simple but would change galactic politics forever. "Admiral," the voice of General Lisa Wright came through the quantum communicator, "the President has authorized Operation Homecoming. You are to choose your most advanced ships and prepare for an immediate attack on the Galactic Council's home systems." Morrison looked out at his fleet of ships that were half human technology and half improved alien technology. "Ma'am, are we sure we are ready for that kind of escalation? Jake, they came to our home with the intention of enslaving our entire species. I think it is time they learned what it feels like to be on the receiving end." In the council chambers, thousands of light years away, emergency alarms rang for the first time in over 1,000 years. The assembled delegates watched in horror as reports came in from their frontier territories. "The humans have left their star system," announced the military coordinator. His voice was shaking with fear. 3 separate fleets are approaching. Council space using what appears to be improved versions of our own hyperspace technology. "This is madness," Commander Sarlacc said from his emergency broadcast from the Sol system. "They have turned an entire star system into a fortress. Their ability to build things is growing every day. Each day they become more dangerous." Supreme Chancellor Vex Cthulhu felt cold fear for the first time in his long life. "What are you saying, Commander?" "I am saying we have made a terrible mistake. These humans do not fight wars the way civilized species do. They fight like they want to destroy everything. And they are very, very good at it. The first human ships entered Galactic Council space like sharks entering a swimming pool. The UNS Retribution, commanded by Admiral Morrison, dropped out of hyperspace in the Zephyrian home system with 50 ships behind it. Each ship was armed with weapons that combined human creativity with alien technology. "Sir," called Lieutenant Kate Miller from the communications station, "we are receiving transmissions from the planet's surface. It sounds like they are panicking." "Good," Morrison replied. "Open a channel to their government." The response came quickly. Too quickly, like they had been waiting for this moment with dread. "Human fleet. This is Supreme Chancellor Vex Cthulhu. The translated voice carried fear despite trying to sound official. "We wish to discuss terms for—" "You can surrender," Morrison interrupted. His voice was as cold as space itself. "Completely and without conditions. You will remove all council forces from human space. You will give us your complete technology, databases, and you will recognize Earth as a sovereign power with full rights in galactic affairs. And if we refuse?" Morrison nodded to his weapons officer, who fired a single energy pulse toward a nearby moon that had no life on it. The pulse, powered by human-improved fusion reactors and focused through alien crystal technology, carved a canyon 100 miles long and 20 miles deep in the moon's surface. "That was set to 1% power," Morrison said calmly. "I have 50 ships with me, and there are 2 more fleets approaching your other major systems. We learned very quickly that you only respect strength. Consider this a demonstration. On Earth." Dr. Amy Stone worked alongside former alien prisoners who had asked for protection rather than face return to Council space. The Lumicide scientist Pral N had been especially helpful in explaining how galactic politics worked. "Your species has done something that has never happened before," Pral N explained. His translated voice was full of something like awe. "The Council has ruled through being more advanced than everyone else for over 50,000 years. No primitive species has ever successfully fought back against them, much less defeated them." "Maybe that is because you called them primitive," Amy replied with a small smile. "One thing humans are very good at is proving that what everyone thinks is wrong." Captain Steve Parker walked through the corridors of the Council's main research station, which was now under human control. Around him, teams of human scientists worked alongside alien researchers who had chosen cooperation over resistance. "Give me a status report," he said to Lieutenant Kate Miller, who was coordinating the technology transfer. "We have gained access to their complete historical databases," she replied. "It turns out they have been using basically the same technology for the last 10,000 years. No innovation, no experimentation, just small improvements to existing systems. And now? Now we are showing them what happens when you give humans access to really good tools. The war that had started as an alien invasion of Earth had turned into something completely different. Human fleets were attacking Council positions throughout the galaxy. Human technology was advancing so fast that even humans were surprised by what they could build. And human determination was teaching the galaxy a lesson that would not be forgotten." On the bridge of the UNS Vengeance, Commander Paul Davis watched as another Council fleet surrendered without fighting. Word was spreading throughout the galaxy that humans were not to be underestimated. "Sir," his communications officer reported, "we are receiving surrender signals from the remaining Council ships in this system." "Accept their surrender," Paul ordered. "But keep our weapons ready. I want them to understand that humanity is not going back to being victims. The galaxy was learning that when you attack humans, you do not just get a war. You get a species that will take your own weapons, make them better, and use them against you with a level of determination that most aliens could not understand."